Hi, students. You're getting this message because I want you to do something with me that I call the one message exchange. This is designed to help you do better. Sometimes students feel overwhelmed when they're given instructions for a large project or assignment and they don't know how to start. Or sometimes they open a worksheet, it has tons of questions, and they feel overwhelmed that there's so much that they need to do. What I want you to do is to focus on the next thing that you need to do to get that accomplished. So what we're going to be doing is chunking bigger tasks in one step at a time. If possible, during a large project or activity, I will give you kind of like a note catcher or something that breaks that project down into smaller chunks. And if it's a worksheet, it's probably already broken down into sections or questions, right? But what I want you to do to not get overwhelmed, if you're doing this on paper, I want you to get a second sheet of paper and cover everything else that it's the next question and focus only in one question at a time. That will help you not get overwhelmed by everything you still need to do and focus only on the thing that's in front of you, one part at a time. The next part of my note catcher, the next question of my worksheet. If you're doing this on a computer, you can use your scroll bar so that you scroll and block the part that is the rest. And you can do just let your screen show just what you've done already and up to the question that you are starting right now. That will again prevent you from worrying about all the things you need to do in the future and focus just on what's in front of you, right? And it's not so demotivating to see the stuff you've already done because that's motivating. Look at how much I've already done, right? That way you don't have to worry about I wouldn't even scroll to see how big the assignment is. Just take one step at a time, right? Sometimes I will even use things like Desmos or Nearpod, which just feed you one question at a time because that's better. But if you're doing a worksheet or a note catcher or a project or an essay or something that you kind of see the whole picture so that you don't feel as stressed out by that, let's take it one step at a time. So scroll and keep only what's in front of you. Or in the case of an essay or a project, we're going to work together to figure out what is the next thing I need to do to do that. How does that look like? So let's say I assigned a class to write an essay, right? What I want you to do is like, okay, so Lima, how do I get started? Then I will feed you the first task that I want you to do. And then you're going to do that task. And as soon as you do that task, what I want you to do is message me back with the task done, what you wrote, what you did. Or if it's something you got to do on paper, you take a snapshot, send me that. And if it's doing class, this could be a message that you send me on the chat. If it's something that you're doing for homework, you can just email it to me. But as soon as you get that micro piece of the whole done, you communicate with me. Then if you I will answer back and give you feedback. And sometimes the feedback might be great, awesome, move on. Or it could be, no, wait, you need to fix this. Here's how I would do that. Give you some feedback, right? Now, when I say move on, if you know how to move on after you sent me the previous piece, you can try to move on. Say you're working on a worksheet and ask 20 questions. You did question one, you sent me the answer to question one. If it's doing class, you send a message. If it's outside of class, you send me an email, right? But the question two is right there. So you can try to do question two. You don't have to wait for me to get feedback on number one before you move on to number two, right? You can keep going. Uh, Now, as soon as you finish number two, right, you can go to number three and so forth. Now, what happens if you don't feel comfortable moving forward because you don't know what you're doing? You feel like, I'm not sure. I'm stressed out right now. Well, then you can wait for my feedback, right? You don't have to move forward. Or you can try to skip the question if you're stuck, or skip the next step if you're not sure about what to do next. And then you can switch tasks to something else that you could do, that you feel confident doing, or that you have the option to do in my class. So every time that you reach a step that you don't know how to do, try to move past it and skip it. And if you can't skip it or don't feel comfortable skipping it and you want to wait for my feedback, switch tasks to something else that you already know how to do that you can also do to help improve your grade in my class. Maybe watch a video for the next lesson or a lesson that you're behind on, or working on another assignment that you're comfortable doing that you still need to do, something like that. This, of course, means that you should always have a backup plan where you're in class. Something that's like you have to catch up on, that you know you're behind on from before, or something that you can use as a resource to get ahead, or an alternative assignment that you can do to boost your grade in the class, so that when you're trying to do what's assigned to you, but you don't know how, you can fall back on this backup plan if you get stuck. Always have a backup plan. That way, you don't just sit there stuck waiting for me to come help you. If you tried already finding resources or skipping the question and don't know how to do it. That way, you don't waste your time and you're always moving forward, making your way better, learning more in the class. Now, if you are skipping or you reach a question that you don't know how to do, instead of sending me that the answer, you should send me a question. So basically, if you are trying to skip a question and go to the next one, or trying to leave it alone and go do something else because you don't know how to do it right now, you should let me know that you're there. You should let me know that you're doing this. So you should message me and say, look, I got the question two. I'm not really sure what to do. I need help. I'm going to try to skip to question three. Or it could be like, oh, I got the question two. I'm not sure what to do. I need help. I try to look at question three. I also don't know. I think I'm just going to go do another assignment that I know how to do right now, or watch a video, or look at a resource and wait for you to come help me because I'm stuck in this question. So if you don't communicate with me to tell me what you've done and get feedback, you communicate with me to get help. So if you skip or you switch assignments because, or go your backup plan, so to speak, because you got stuck, I need to know that that's the case, right? So you're still checking in with me one step at a time. And of course, the goal is to move forward on the assignment. So I'll come to help you as soon as I can, but sometimes I'm busy doing something else. And you should also think about, like, how is there any way I can help myself with this? Like, is there a resource that I have available that could help me answer this question? But the rule of thumb is, if you spend more than like 3 minutes stuck on something, thinking about it, not knowing how to do it, you probably should ask for help. And I talked about that on another video where I talked about checks for understanding. You can't just waste time forever stuck in one question. You should try to move on. That's why it's kind of important to use a timer also, because if you have a timer with you, you can see the time that has been going on since you've been starting on this question. So if you've been on it for a very long time, try to skip to the next one or switch to a backup plan, but do let me know that you're doing that. And this doesn't have to apply only for things that have questions either. If you're writing an essay and you haven't written anything new in a very long time, that also counts. You have to try to always move forward. So if you get stuck for more than 2 to 3 minutes, make sure that you ask for help or find a resource that can get you moving, right? So don't be afraid to ask for help. That is also part of your check-ins. This one message exchange system, it's called chunking. And the idea is for me to make sure that you're never left behind and that you don't move forward too far without actually getting feedback, so that you don't have to go back 5, 10 steps because you did a bunch of things wrong, because before I had a chance to come back to you and check in on you. I want to help you more. And I think if we do this, I will be able to. Now, if you can handle 1, 2 steps, I might give you 5 steps, 6 steps at a time. And eventually we can build up to a point where you don't have to check in with me so often at all. But right now, I want to start doing it one step at a time. This is not something that you can do just during class. If it's during class, you can send me a message, but you can also continue working outside of class, which will allow you to catch up faster, especially if you fell behind, or get ahead if you want. Okay? If you're doing outside of class, you can do it through email. And then I'll reply to your email and tell you your next step, right? So we can keep communicating even if it's outside of class doing that. So it doesn't have to happen just in class, okay? But trust me, I've worked with a lot of students before. Doing this helps. I hope you help me help you. All right? Let me know what you think about this.